Here we go. I'll do that one. Here we go. So you probably see a message on there, so you can leave if you want to know, if you want to. So, right, okay. So, warm welcome, ladies and gents. Welcome to tonight's BADIs Zoom meeting. I hope it's been a sort of a pleasant week. I hope you've got, well, too much work at the moment, like I think we all have at the moment. Far too much work, turning it down left, right, and centre. I'm personally getting probably about 2 or 3 phone calls a day. And I'm telling them, sorry, I'm going to have to put you on a wait list. And they say, how long's that? Then I'll say a month, because it's getting that silly at the moment. Okay, so, but some of them have already got test booked. They said, oh, I've got my test booked in about a month's time. I've done no lessons. I'm going to do an intensive. And like, I'm not the person to speak to. I don't do intensives. I never will, never shall. Okay, so. I don't think they learn. I don't think they learn today quick enough. And we hear all the horror stories about it. They'll probably work with some people. I dare say they will work with some people, but I'm probably not the instructors probably to do it, to be honest with you. So anyway, so just a few announcements. Hands up, who's going to the ADI NJC conference this Sunday? Okay. Now, if you're not going already or wish to book, I'm now going to put it through on chat. So you'll see a message come through any second now on chat. Here we go. So I've just sent it a message through on chat. So if you wanted to book it, if you're thinking about doing it, you probably do it now. Okay, it's free, by the way. It doesn't cost you anything. It's this Sunday, the 10th. It starts about 9 o'clock, finishes about 4 o'clock as well. So, and you know, you got the DVSA there as well. Is it Lovejoy Rider? No, my apologies if I get name wrong. Like it being Lovejoy, stuff like that. So Lovejoy, I think Lovejoy and John Sheridan's there as well. They're going to be talking about obviously the recent changes to the standards checks and stuff like that. So they'll be there available to talk to as well. They always generally are. Okay, unless they want all the rotten vegetables being thrown at them, I don't know, but all the changes they made anyway. So yeah, and there's other speakers there in different rooms as well, so you can pick what you want. I'm there personally as well. With Rob Cooling. He wants some of the EVs being displayed, so I'm there. My car will be there actually, be there on display. So if you want to have a look at it and see how an EV works, then come and see me if you want to. Okay, so right, okay, so other announcements. Our chairman unfortunately can't make it tonight. He's unfortunately a little bit ill. He was unfortunately in hospital. He's out now. He had like sort of chronic bronchitis. But he's out now, fitting well, and hopefully he'll be at our next meeting. I don't think he'll be down at the conference on Sunday, but we'll definitely. He says he's going to watch next week's meeting. So he's going to be fitting up for that as well. And also as well, another announcement as well is next week we got a special meeting with the DVSA. We've got the ADI ADI. Enforcement manager. He told me off for calling the wrong name the other day, but so it's ADI enforcement manager. He's going to be talking about what happens on the engagement call. I know a little bit about it, but not much, not anywhere near as much detail he can tell me. So we're going to talk about that engagement call, what they do, and also to talk about the standards check triggers as well. You might have seen the video I put on WhatsApp, which I'll put on today. Okay, as soon as I saw it, I posted it on there. So basically, he's going to be talking about that. Now, if any questions you want to ask him, sensible ones, of course, okay, please forward them to me. Okay, please forward them to me because he's asked for that. Okay, I can't guarantee if you ask a question on the night, he's going to answer it. Okay, but if you can forward the questions to me before, say, Wednesday next week, I can forward them to him, so they'll be prioritised. Those questions on the night will be prioritised. Okay, so please don't start asking questions on the night because I'm saying, hold on a minute. And also as well, the other thing as well, it's going to be a members only meeting as well. Okay, so it's going to be a members only meeting. So if you want to invite somebody, please get them to speak to me first, and so they can join up. Okay, because it's either a pay on the night or it's basically it's a membership thing. Okay, so that's basically what me and Lee decided. Okay, so unless it's an invite, of course, unless it's an invite, it'd be either by Lee or by myself. Okay, so that's basically it, ladies and gents. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hand over to Ian Edwards. Ian Edwards has kindly come to our association tonight to talk about modern behavioural change techniques. Okay, so Ian's read, well, he's written a book called, an absolute excellent book. I don't want to say, I'm going to say it's an absolutely excellent book. It's what's it? Can Drivers Really Teach Themselves? It's on my shelf over there. So absolutely excellent book. Okay, read it I literally read it 3 times actually. I think it's so good. Some of the techniques on there are very down to earth, and I can understand them as well, which are brilliant as well. So very good book, and he does lots and lots of good talks on like behavioural techniques and stuff like that. So over to you, Ian. Okay, so
okay, hi everybody. I'll just before I start, I'll just expand a little bit more. Thank you very much, David, for the kind plug of the book and the saying it was very good. I really appreciate that. As David said, my name's Ian Edwards. I always struggle a little bit to describe what I am really, but basically I work in road safety, and I work right across the whole gamut of road safety, from training road safety officers to evaluating road safety interventions to designing road safety interventions for all sorts of different groups, and from older drivers through to younger drivers through to, you know, preschool children. So I work right across that. I'm currently doing a PhD, and this presentation is based on some of my PhD work. My PhD work is really looking at what we call impulsivity in a road safety setting. So I'm going to really, I'm using a presentation I've developed for my PhD, which is being trialled in South Yorkshire at the moment, and I'm doing the evaluation. But I'm going to give some, I've taken a lot of the slides out, I've taken a lot of the information out, because the gist of today is really about behavioural change techniques, and I'll jump into my presentation at that point. If you just bear with me a second while I just share my screen. So the presentation I've developed that's being delivered across South Yorkshire is called Take Control. So that's basically what this presentation is based on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as an exemplar of the types of behavioural change techniques that have been built into that, so you can actually see them. I'm going to start first, though, with well, a bit of background. Behavioural change is a term used to describe applications of models or techniques, and I'm going to particularly look at the techniques that influence different people's behaviour. And it really finds its basis in a set of work that was done a few years ago, back in 2008, and it's called nudge. So what we're really talking about is nudge techniques, and these are the ways that you edge people in the direction you would like them to go in. So you're going to try and sort of nudge them, and it basically works on human biases, and there's lots of human biases that we have. You know, we all like to see a common bias is what's called superiority bias. So we quite often want to be seen as being good at what we do, or you know, we have a grandiose view of ourselves in many ways, and that's the type of approach we can use to nudge people in the direction we want. We can present information to them so that it appeals to that self-identity, for example. Generally speaking, models are theoretical frameworks. I'm not going to speak a great deal about them, but the techniques are the active component of an intervention designed to change a behavior, of which there's 93 behavioral change techniques, right? So there's a fair old chunk to go at. Okay, and they're subdivided into 16 subgroups, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the subgroups today. I thought before we did that, I would just introduce you to something that you may or may not have heard of, but this is now a big thing in local government road safety, you know, government road safety really, and it's called the safe systems approach. Has anybody heard of safe systems, just out of interest? Yeah, one of you, I think. Okay, so safe systems can be is captured by this quote that I've put on here, and this is from Alexander Pope. You may notice that the spelling seems a bit different, but it was written in 1711, and the words have changed a little bit there. So it's the 17th, 18th century spelling. So Alexander Pope said, "To err is human, right? To forgive is divine," right? So to err is human, to forgive is divine. And the basic principle of the safe systems approach to road safety is that humans will make mistakes, right? Humans will always make mistakes. Therefore, any system designed for a human to use must prevent the mistake occurring, ideally, the error occurring in the first place. And then if it does occur, or when it occurs, because humans will always make mistakes, it should be able to, it should stop the mistake becoming catastrophic, right? And the best example I can give you on that, sorry, just excuse me 1 second. My wife's just doing some accounts and I just have to log her in, so I've done that now. And the best example I can give you is probably is what we would call safe vehicles, and I'll come back to that in a moment. But just bear this in mind, right? Humans will always make mistakes, and actually the forgiveness bit is that the system itself should forgive them. So this is in the middle of what we call the safe systems approach. So people make mistakes, therefore a system should reduce these and not allow them to be catastrophic when they occur. And outside of this central little roundel here, what we've got is safe speeds, safe road use, safe vehicles, post-crash care, and then safe roads and roadsides. Okay, and that's the safe system. So I'm going to give you a little example of safe vehicles. Just going to whip around the, you know, if you can. I'm only going to do the ones I can see because I don't know what the other three are sort of doing at the moment, and I don't want to disturb them. So, David, could you just give me an example of a safe system in a car that to improve safety?
Okay, ABS.
ABS, brilliant. Is that Hamid?
Yeah, that one, that if you change the lanes, like on my car, it makes a noise.
Yeah, so lane assist or whatever they're called. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Faisal?
ESP.
ESP, yeah, electronic stability control, yeah, brilliant. Pavita, sorry, excuse the pronunciation, I'm sorry. Just unmute yourself. Can you unmute? I'll go to Lyndon then, if you don't mind, while you're just unmuting yourself.
Automatic lights.
Automatic lights, brill, yeah. I don't know, Pavita has managed, and TRC11. Sorry, I've got no other name for you. I think, was it Henry or? Yeah, just unmute yourself.
It's Tim.
Tim, sorry.
Tim, if you want to mute yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, what was your safety system on a car?
Handbrake warning.
Handbrake warning, yeah, brill. You've actually gone for all the new technology, which is absolutely fab. But other ones would be head restraint, seat belt, crumple zones, side impact bars. So what we've got is a really good example of safe systems, because what you've got, sorry about this. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
That's me cup of tea arriving. Apologies. So safe vehicles are a really good example of the safe systems approach, because what you've got is you've got a set of safety systems that mainly are the ones that you designed that we would call active. The aim of them is to prevent the collision occurring in the first place. So city brake, lane assist, brake assist, all of those. So they're active controls. So they're to prevent the error occurring. So to err is human. And then you've got the systems that I sort of listed, which are what we call passive systems. And these systems are there to make the crash more survivable. Okay, does that make sense? So you've got those two systems on a car, and you can see how that fits with that idea. But increasingly, what we're trying to do now is to take the same approach with, well, let's use roadsides and safe roads and roadsides, is to make the road safer by good signage. So signage will prevent the error occurring. But quite often when a road engineer puts a sign in, what happens? If you imagine a right-hand bend, and we put chevrons on the right-hand bend because people keep leaving the road, all right? What happens if they leave the road now once you put the chevrons up? What will they hit?
Liability.
Sorry?
Liability.
Liability, but you know, a little bit, you know, a bit what's going to happen to the driver and the passenger when they leave the road on that bend.
Well, hopefully, if it's properly designed, then the poles will snap appropriately.
Right. So we now have what we call dynamic road signs. Okay, and these dynamic road signs will actually collapse on impact. You know, and that's another example of safe systems. So increasingly now, where the design of roads, design of roadsides, the way that we fit speed limits or a select speed limit follows this idea of the safe systems approach, that actually we accept that humans make a mistake, and that we try and design things in that will prevent those mistakes becoming catastrophic. Just give you the post-crash care one's really interesting. I went for work purposes to Jordan a few years ago, and I was in Amman, which is the capital. If you had a crash there, you might as well just give up, because you just saw the ambulances sat in the traffic jam with the lights, you know, the blue lights turning, because they couldn't, you know, there's nowhere for the traffic to go. So that's what we mean by post-crash care. How fast and how good can the post-crash care get there? The one I want to draw out today, and links with my presentation, is really this idea of safe road users. We know that safe road users will make mistakes, or road users will make mistakes, but what actually underpins those mistakes and what can be done about it, so that actually when they do make mistakes, they won't become catastrophic. But I'm particularly going to focus on what can be done to reduce the collision involvement of young drivers. And this is where, actually I'm going to, oh no, I'll do that. This is where the use of behavioural change techniques and ideas start becoming really important. And one of the key models that are now used in the design of road safety interventions, and what I mean by an intervention is something that, well, for example, speed awareness is a road safety intervention where you're intervening with drivers who have erred in some way. And one of the things we try and sort of do now is to base them on theoretical models. And probably the most famous one, or the most popular one at the moment, is what's called the COM-B model. And COM-B stands for capability, opportunity, motivation, and behaviour. I'll go through the whole model, but fairly quickly. This is the centre of the model, all right, which is the capability, opportunity, motivation. So actually, to improve somebody's behaviour, you need to give them the capability you want for them to do what you want them to do. You need them to know when to do it. So they need to know opportunities to do it. There's a lot more under opportunities, but that'll do for now. And most importantly, they need to be motivated to do it. And this is really critical. In driver training, you know, motivation, we tend to sort of say, you'll be safer, you know, you'll not crash. But actually they're quite far away motivators. People aren't necessarily motivated by death and destruction. They're quite often more motivated by immediate rewards, all right? And just keep immediate rewards in your head, because that is very much within the presentation I'm going to cover today. On the outside of that rim, you've got, this is the full behavioural change wheel. On the outside of that rim, you've got the different types of interventions you can have. So you can have educational, persuasion, incentivize, coerce, training, enablement, modelling, and environmental restructuring, so engineering interventions. And then on the outside of that rim, what you've got is what's called the policy rim. And this is very much around sort of things that government could do, or an organisation could do if they had control of their drivers. So it would be guidelines, environmental, social planning, communication, legislation, service provision, regulation, and fiscal measures. So that's the whole model. I'm not going to go into that in huge amounts of depth. Just really want you to keep in mind for the rest of the presentation this idea of developing somebody's capability, pointing out opportunities of when to use whatever you're asking them to do, and what's going to motivate them. Those are the 16 behavioural change groupings. So I'll just take a slurp of tea, if I may. So we have got goals and planning. So this is about encouraging people to set a goal. Actually, I'll liken these to Weight Watchers or Slimming World. So, you know, so if you wanted to lose weight in one of those organizations, they'd get you to set a goal, and they would help you to plan about how you're going to achieve those goals. Feedback and monitoring, you know, that's about going back for the monitoring, so that will be the weighing and getting feedback on how well you're doing. Social support is the fact that they're run as clubs. Shaping knowledge, they'll probably sell you a cookbook or something of that nature. Oh, by the way, the brackets is just how many BCTs are in each one of these groupings. So remember, there's 93 BCTs and you've got different groupings. Natural comparison, so consequences. So if you eat less, you'll lose weight, for example. Comparison of behaviors, I'm eating less than other people. Association, this is about associating the outcome with a very positive event. Like, imagine what you would look like at your daughter's or son's wedding, dressed in your best clothes once you've lost weight. Repetition and substitution, so this is about suggesting different ways of doing things and then getting people to repeat them until they can do it. Comparison of outcomes, so this is about comparing your outcome with someone else's. Reward and threat, they probably don't use threat, but there's loads of rewards, like, you know, you get a certificate, or you can stay a member of the clubs for free once you've reached target weight. Regulation actually refers to self-regulation, which is particularly what my intervention's about. So learning how to regulate your own impulses. Antecedents, this is about understanding trigger events. So this is where, you know, you might come in from work, make yourself a cup of tea and go straight for the biscuits. So the trigger event is coming in from work. So you might want to put the fruit bowl in front of the biscuit barrel. Identity. So this is about aligning something to somebody's self-identity. So that's quite an important one in the presentation I'm going to give you. Scheduled consequences. So this is about knowing, you know, that you've got to actually go back every week in my Weight Watchers Swimming World example. Self-belief, I can do it, you know, and then covert learning. Imagine what other people would think of you if you did it, and how your new eating habits would impact on your family. So they're the 16 subgroups. I haven't got time to go through the BCTs. Just bear them in mind, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through a presentation that I've designed, and it's 2 hours long. It's done as 2 1-hour blocks. As I said earlier, it's been trialled in South Yorkshire, sorry. And I'm going to go through and pull out the behavioural change techniques that I'm using. So I've missed out lots of the slides, so it'll feel a little bit disjointed, but I'm more interested in you recognising the BCTs we're using, because you can use many of these BCTs in car, okay? So I'm going to show you how I've used them in the presentation, but it wouldn't be very difficult to think about, well, how can I use that technique in a car? Okay. Are you all happy with that? Do you want to just stop the recording, David, because I'm going to go into this?